Are you buying status or funding a prison? That's the question that will completely change your relationship with money. Over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to reveal the real and invisible cost of living for appearances, something I discovered after years of observing people who fake wealth versus those who actually build it, because I'm about to tell you a story that might be your own. I know people who earn $5,000 a month, but spend $6,000 to maintain an image they can't afford. They work relentlessly, not to prosper, but to impress. Do you feel that too? That sense that you're working harder to feed an image than to build a solid future. The problem is that we live in a time when looking rich has become more important than being rich. And this value inversion is creating an entire generation trapped in a silent financial prison. People driving financed cars, wearing clothes bought on credit, and living in apartments that consume 70% of their income, all to sustain an illusion that's destroying them from the inside out. But there's a way out of this trap, and it starts by understanding 3 fundamental pillars. First, we'll break down the psychology behind flashy consumption, why you don't actually want the item, but the reaction it brings. Then I'll show you how to break the vicious cycle that keeps you working just to keep up appearances. And finally, I'll reveal the secret habits of the truly wealthy, what they do that most people never see. Let's start with the hardest truth. You don't want the item. You want people's reaction to it. That's the psychological trap keeping millions of Americans in unnecessary debt. Think about the last iPhone you bought on a credit card. Did you really need that device, or were you buying the feeling of belonging, external validation, the approving looks from others? Because the truth is, our need for external validation is driving our financial decisions. And it's absolutely destructive. Let me show you a practical example. A $1,200 iPhone on a credit card with 18% annual interest turns into $1,416 if you take a year to pay it off. But if you took that same $118 monthly payment and invested it in the S&P 500, which historically yields 10% per year, after 12 months you'd have $1,450, and in 5 years, $7,700. You've literally traded $7,700 of future wealth for likes on Instagram. But the problem goes beyond money. When you buy to impress, you're outsourcing your self-worth. Saying your value as a person depends on what you own, not who you are. And that creates an addiction. The more you buy, the more you need to buy to feel the same. So from now on, for any purchase, ask yourself one simple question. Do I need this, or do I want to impress someone? Be brutally honest. Because when you stop buying approval and start investing in yourself, you free yourself from others' opinions and build resources for the things that truly matter. Now let's move on to the second pillar, the vicious cycle that keeps you working just to pay for appearances. I call this the golden prison. You work more only to live worse. Let me tell you about a lawyer I know. When he earned $3,000 a month, he drove a used Honda Civic and lived in a modest apartment. He got a promotion and started earning $5,000. What did he do? Bought a financed BMW and moved into a more expensive place. Another promotion, now $8,000 per month. Financed Tesla, an even more expensive apartment. Today he earns $12,000 and is more in debt than when he earned $3,000. That's lifestyle. Inflation? Your spending grows exponentially while your income grows linearly. It's like running on a treadmill that speeds up faster than you can keep up. The worst part, you think you're progressing, but you're just upgrading your decoration. Picture this mental graph. Every 50% increase in income results in an 80% increase in spending. You'll never move forward. In fact, you're going backward. Because loans and interest snowball, eating up more and more of your income. The solution is simple but revolutionary. Set a spending cap and stick to it, no matter how much your income grows. If you earn $5,000 and live on $4,000, then when you earn $8,000, keep living on $4,000. That extra $4,000 monthly invested can generate over $1 million in 10 years. And now we reach the third pillar, the secret of truly wealthy people. They don't need to look rich because they are rich, and that changes everything. Did you know that most American millionaires drive used cars, live in simple homes, and shop at outlet stores? Meanwhile, minimum wage workers often wear $200 sneakers and carry $800 phones. That's no coincidence, it's strategy. Let me give you a real comparison. Imagine two professionals making the same $10,000 per month. The fake rich spends $9,000 keeping up appearances, new car, designer clothes, expensive restaurants, flashy vacations, only $1,000 left to invest. The real rich lives on $6,000 and invests $4,000 monthly. Let's simulate 10 years. Fake rich, investing $1,000 per month at 10% per year equals $204,000. Real rich, investing $4,000 per month equals $817,000, almost $1 million. And here's the best part. The real rich can now live off investment returns, while the fake rich still depends entirely on a paycheck. This is what I call rich stealth, invisible wealth. While everyone sees your purchases, no one sees your investments. You build wealth in the dark, away from the spotlight, without social pressure, without needing to prove anything to anyone. From today on, adopt this habit. Invest first, spend later, and do it in silence. Because true wealth doesn't need an audience, it needs patience and consistency. Let me tell you something important. Every day you spend buying status is a day your investments could have been working for you. Every appearance-driven purchase isn't just lost money, it's delayed financial freedom. Think about it. While you're trying to impress people who barely know you, people who probably don't even care, the time is passing. And time is the most powerful ingredient of wealth. Can't get back the years spent funding a false image. The truth is, wealth is built in the shadows, not on stage. The truly rich don't need an audience for their investments. They know that every dollar invested today can become $5 or $10 in the future. And they do it quietly, consistently, without rushing to show results. So I ask you, do you want to look free or be free? Because those are opposite choices. People who live for appearances are always trapped by others' opinions, always dependent on the next paycheck, always chasing external validation. But those who build real wealth are building autonomy, independence, and the power to say no to what doesn't matter and yes to what truly does. The deeper reality, why status spending, is modern slavery. But let me go deeper into this reality that most people refuse to acknowledge. The psychological manipulation behind consumer culture is more sophisticated than you imagine. We're not just buying products, we're buying into a system designed to keep us perpetually dissatisfied, perpetually spending, perpetually working. Have you ever noticed how marketing targets your deepest insecurities? That luxury car commercial doesn't sell transportation, it sells the fantasy of being admired, respected, desired. That designer handbag ad doesn't sell storage, it sells the illusion of status, sophistication, belonging to an exclusive club. This is psychological warfare on your wallet. Companies spend billions studying your brain, mapping your emotional triggers, finding exactly which buttons to push to make you spend money you don't have on things you don't need. And here's the cruelest part. The more you earn, the more sophisticated the traps become. When you made $3,000 a month, you coveted a $500 watch. Now that you make $8,000, you need a $3,000 watch. The percentage of your income being wasted actually increases as your income grows. Think about social media's role in this trap. Every post is a competition you never signed up for. Every vacation photo, every new purchase, every milestone creates pressure to match or exceed. You're not just competing with your neighbors anymore. You're competing with everyone in your feed, including people whose wealth you can't even comprehend. But here's what those posts don't show you. The credit card debt behind the perfect vacation. The stress behind the smile. The sleepless nights worrying about payments. Social media shows you the highlight reel while hiding the financial horror stories. Let me share another example that will shock you. I know a couple who earns $15,000 monthly. They live in a beautiful house, drive luxury cars, wear designer clothes, and take expensive vacations. On paper, they're living the dream. In reality, they have less than $500 in emergency savings and are 3 months away from financial disaster if either loses their job. Compare that to another couple earning the same amount. They live in a modest home, drive reliable, used cars, and take simple vacations. But they have over $200,000 invested and are on track to retire in their 40s. Same income, completely different financial futures. The difference? The first couple bought into the status game. The second couple bought into the wealth game. And these are two entirely different games with opposite rules. The hidden costs of the status game lets calculate the true cost of status. Spending over a lifetime. If you spend an extra $2,000 monthly on status items, the premium car payment, designer clothes, expensive restaurants, luxury vacations, that's $24,000 per year. But remember this, isn't just $24,000. This is $24,000 that could have been invested at 10% annual returns. The $24,000 becomes $52,000 in 5 years, $137,000 in 10 years, $356,000 in 15 years, $937,000 in 20 years. You literally traded nearly $1 million of future wealth for temporary validation from people who probably forgot about your purchases. The next day, and this doesn't even account for the interest, you're paying on credit cards and loans to fund these purchases. If you're financing your status with debt at 18% interest, you're moving backward even faster. But the financial cost isn't even the worst part. The psychological cost is devastating. When you tie your self-worth to your possessions, you become a prisoner of other people's opinions. You can't relax because you're always worried about maintaining your image. You can't take risks because you're trapped by monthly payments. You can't say no to opportunities because you need the income to fund your lifestyle. You become a slave to your own image. The wealthy think differently. Here's what truly wealthy people understand that the fake rich don't. Wealth is about options, not appearances. Real wealth gives you the freedom to choose how you spend your time, where you live, what work you do, how you help others. The truly wealthy ask different questions. Will this purchase increase my freedom or decrease it? Is this bringing me closer to financial independence or further from it? Am I buying this because I need it or because I want to be seen with it? They also understand something profound. Every luxury purchase is a trade-off. When you buy a $5,000 watch, you're not just spending $5,000, you're trading the future returns that money could have generated. You're trading financial freedom for a piece of metal on your wrist. Warren Buffett, one of the world's wealthiest people, still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. He drives himself to work. He eats at McDonald's. Why? Because he understands that every dollar spent on status is a dollar not working. For his future, this isn't about being cheap or living miserably. It's about being intentional with your money. It's about spending on things that truly matter while cutting ruthlessly on things that don't. The investment mindset revolution. Let me introduce you to a completely different way of thinking about money. The investment mindset. Instead of asking, can I afford this? Start asking, what is the opportunity cost of this purchase? That $4,000 vacation could become $8,000 in 5 years if invested. That $500 monthly car payment could become $640,000 in 20 years if invested instead. This isn't about never enjoying life. It's about making conscious choices about what brings real value versus what just feeds your ego. The investment mindset also changes how you view your income. Instead of seeing your paycheck as spending money, you see it as fuel for your financial freedom machine. Every dollar becomes a soldier in your army of wealth, working around the clock to buy you more time, more options, more freedom. Building wealth in the shadows. Real wealth accumulation happens quietly, consistently, without fanfare. While everyone else is posting their purchases on social media, you're building an investment portfolio. While they're financing their image, you're funding your future. This is what I call stealth wealth. Building significant assets without anyone noticing. It's the opposite of the flashy lifestyle that's become so popular. It's understated, intentional, incredibly powerful. Here's how it works. You live below your means, invest the difference, and let compound interest work its magic. You don't need to impress anyone because you're playing a different game entirely. You're playing the long game. while everyone else is playing the short game. And the beautiful thing about the long game is that it always wins. Compound interest is the most powerful force in finance, but it only works if you give it time and consistency. Every month you invest instead of spending on status is a month closer to financial freedom. The Freedom Formula. Let me give you a simple formula that will change your financial future. Living expenses plus investment rate equals time to financial freedom. The lower your living expenses and the higher your investment rate, the faster you reach financial independence. It's that simple. If you can live on 50% of your income and invest the other 50%, you could be financially independent in approximately 17 years. If you can live on 30% and invest 70%, you could be free in under 12 years. But if you spend 90% of your income on lifestyle and only save 10%, you'll be working for over 50 years if you can ever retire at all. This is why the status game is so dangerous. It keeps your living expenses high and your investment rate low. It's trapping you in a cycle of perpetual work. Your choice, status or freedom. So here's the ultimate question. What do you really want? Do you want to impress people for a few moments? Or do you want to build lasting wealth that gives you true freedom? Do you want to spend the next 20 years working to pay for things you bought to impress people who don't really care about you? Or do you want to spend the next 10 to 15 years building wealth that will give you the freedom to live life on your own terms? The choice is yours, but you can't have both. Status spending and wealth building are mutually exclusive. Every dollar you spend on one is a dollar you can't spend on the other. If these insights have opened your eyes to the true cost of status spending, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me, what's one status purchase you're going to stop making starting today? What's one way you're going to redirect that money toward building real wealth? Remember, while they show off, you build. While they finance appearances, you finance your future. Real wealth doesn't need an audience. It needs purpose, discipline, and a long-term vision. Your journey to real financial freedom starts the moment you stop living to impress and start living to prosper. The question isn't whether you can afford to make this change, it's whether you can afford not to. See you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into the specific strategies the wealthy use to build lasting wealth while everyone else is trapped in the status game.